Aha, see if we can catch anybody off guard, right? We still had a couple minutes left on the countdown. Hey everybody, Jason Zaleski here, and today's Zaleski Sports Show happening live right here in downtown Stevens Point. Nobody walking out on the snowy sidewalks yet, but there's somebody rambling around over there by the old Shopko building. Got a great show for you here today. We're going to check out some highlights for Friday. We've got the new girls and boys Zaleski Sports basketball poll. I'll take you through spots 10 through 1 on both the girls and the boys side. And we've got a special guest coming up later in today's show, Neenah girls basketball coach Andy Brownell. So we got a big show, got a lot planned for you here today over the next hour. And the show is back. I know a lot of people ask, hey, are you going to ever do that show again? Would you do that show? So I just figured nobody liked it, but it turns out that a lot of people have been asking for this show since it's kind of been on pause for the last number of months. So glad to be back, glad to be doing it again. Got an eye here on folks watching on Facebook. Got an eye over here on folks watching on YouTube. If you got a comment, just type it in. There's no guarantee I'm going to care what your comment is, but go ahead and type it in, and we'll see what it's all about. What I'm really looking for are two things: corrections and then topics for later shows. Those are the two things that I need the most. And one, in that order, is corrections. Two, topics coming up on upcoming shows. I'm happy to entertain and happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about in the world of high school sports here in Wisconsin. And with that being said, just a quick note. I'm going to stay away from rants on this show. If I rant about anything, though, it's always going to be about Fleet Farm and how Fleet Farm really gives you everything you need, and that other store smells like puke. But that's the only rant I'm ever going to get into on this show. Otherwise, we're going to talk about kind of a wide range of things. But the first thing I just want to update is we're always looking for content, and the first way that we look for it, so aside from people asking, hey, Zaleski, when's the show coming back again? Here it is. You got it. All right, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday for forever. For the rest of the future of mankind, this show will be Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. The content that we're looking for is this, or the other comment I get is this. Before we get to the highlights, and we had the Eagle being interviewed back there behind me. That was from Friday. We'll get to that too. But what we get a lot of comments on, and this just happened over the weekend, we show a lot of pictures on social media of high school and collegiate student athletes. We'll give a caption, and we'll note on there who they are, where they were playing, who they beat, how many points or goals or whatever, their stats that they had. And then there's always people, well, what about this? Or what about my kid? Or what about this sport? Gang, most of what you see out there are things that are being sent to us. So somebody mentioned over the weekend, well, that's nice. You covered all the basketball in the Wisconsin Valley. What about hockey? Well, we did show Marshfield hockey because Coach Eric Bowman sends in the stats. Some moms, dads, others send in the pictures, and we put it all together in a neat package and help celebrate these high school student athletes. Listen, gang, it's a community effort, all right? If you think I can just go around and take pictures everywhere of every game every night, on Friday night, in the state of Wisconsin, there were 200 basketball games going on. I can be at one or two of them, but 200. So that's the other thing I just want to solve real quick. A lot of people ask about this, and so we're going to use this stage here, this platform as it is in downtown Stevens Point to let you understand how this works. And so, yeah, if you want us to talk about your favorite student athlete, send in a picture, and Coach has got to send in the stats. Yeah, you can send in the stats, but do you even know what you're talking about? Who knows? But Coach usually does. So we need those two things. You send in the picture, and then have your coach send in the stats. So that hockey comment over the weekend, again, Coach Eric Bowman, Marshfield Hockey, sends in stats every game. Every other high school hockey team in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, just as a for instance, every other high school hockey team in the Wisconsin Valley Conference has sent in 0 stats all year. So you get nothing. That's how it works. Risk reward. What's the risk? Almost nothing. The reward is we help you celebrate your student athletes. All right, highlights from Friday. Boy, we had a big night on Zaleski Sports on Friday night. We had live broadcast. I think we had 10, 11 games broadcast just on Friday night alone. We had Garrett over in Greenwood shooting highlights. We'll show you those too. We had what turns out from Friday, this is the national anthem for Friday night. Very exciting stuff. We had Grace Krings interview the Auburndale Eagle in the pregame show on Friday night. Why did that happen, you ask? Well, because she asked, can I interview the Eagle? So that's all it is, gang. We're very approachable. Come on out and talk to us. Just doing a quick whip around here looking for comments. None yet, so I guess everybody's pretty happy with the way the show is going so far, and that is fine by me. But yeah, that's how all these things work. So I mentioned Garrett over in Greenwood as Cloverbelt Conference boys basketball going on in Greenwood Friday night. It was Owen with the Blackhawks visiting the Greenwood Indians, and here's part of what Garrett put together for us on Friday night. Greenwood as the Indians welcome the Owen Withy Blackhawks. Logan Amaker, rejection, then gets the rebound on the missed follow from Luke Palkacek. On the offensive end, Alex Skotowski, timber! Closing seconds of the first half, Greenwood gets a bucket from Rogan Travis. Owen Withy leads 50-7 at halftime. Second half, Carter Clavin on the inbound. Amaker puts the ball in its home with authority. The dish from Vinny Henke. Amaker cleans up his own mess. Amaker on the curl in lane 20 finished with a game-high 20. Owen Withy holds Greenwood to just 5 made field goals. Owen Withy over Greenwood 81-15. Here's head coach Russ Weiler and our Zaleski Sports Highlight House player of the game, Logan Amaker.
What is it going forward that you guys need to maintain?
I think just that unselfish play, moving the ball. And I just told the guys in the locker room, we kind of go through pockets where somebody might score 4 or 6, another guy 4 or 6 points, 4 here, 2 there. So we go on a little bit of runs that I think anybody can carry our team offensively. So, but it's just staying aggressive. Sometimes we might have a wide open drive that we don't take. And it's just say, hey, we keep attacking the rim. Sooner or later, those kick out threes or those dump downs are going to be there. I would say just once Amaker came out and he was passing the ball from the post, and then all of a sudden he established himself back in the post. So he kind of, the way he's able to pass all the post sets it up for other people. And now Carter Clavin is a big guard attacking the rim and also rebounding. And then when you got Gildenek playing defense on the other net, and that also helps. And then Elliot Ackerman didn't score for us, but that guy's a shadow on defense. So, and then Vincent Henke was kind of had 2 games off where he wasn't crashing too well for us, and now he had a big night on the boards, which always helps.
Right, so you had a big game, 2 devastating blocks for the team, and then the dunk. Pick one of those plays. What was that like?
The dunk's always nice because it really comes from the teammates, and the teammates have a good drive or something, help defense has to go, and then we finish the play for them.
What were some of the key factors going into that practice week?
Well, we didn't have practice these last 2 days because we had snow days, but at our last game we started to kind of click and we all started to kind of mesh and work together a little better, so that was important.
Here we go. How about we turn the microphone back on again? There's Jeff watching. Let's get caught up on what you missed there. So Owen Withy 3-1 now. As I went through the Clover Belt Conference standings, Colby 2-0, Columbus Catholic 2-0, Owen Withy 2-0. They all lead the way in the Clover Belt East boys basketball standings. A young season. We really just got out of the starting blocks here in boys basketball. So yeah, you got 2 conference games. You don't always, you really can't derive much from those things. But yeah, so as I was saying, while you could see my mouth move, but you couldn't hear me, was Garrett will be over in Abbotsford tonight. Girls basketball. He'll bring us girls basketball highlights tomorrow morning. 5-2 Abbotsford Falcons, and I think 5-1 Pittsville Panthers. Again, corrections, if you know the records, go ahead and send them on up. I could look, ZaleskiSports.com, we've got all those standings on there. But I like to just spit game here, right? Just let you know what's happening in my mind at any given time. And I think that's the best way, really, for me to operate. But I'll sprinkle in some official statistics every now and then, but you all can update me as we go. So that's where Garrett was in Greenwood on Friday night. He's going up to Abbotsford tonight, get highlights of that girls basketball game that is coming up. So yeah, we had a lot, double-digit games live on Friday night. Again, as I was saying, anytime we get past 8, my math gets a little fuzzy, gets a little elusive. The numbers seem to kind of float away from me. Because really, you tell me somebody else who's doing 10, 11 games live on any day, anywhere in the country, you let me know. And then we'll talk. You and I will talk about that. So big games were happening all over the place on Friday night. Generally speaking, in boys basketball, we've got a whole show yet about girls basketball, so hang on. But get through some of the boys action first. Wisconsin Valley Conference boys basketball. Mark Miller, a friend of the show, and will be on this show occasionally during the basketball season, had DC Everston Marshfield, and kind of in that order, or maybe even flip-flop, but I won't put words in Mark's mouth, but DC Everston Marshfield at the top of the Wisconsin Valley Conference preseason-wise, and probably as the season goes on. Marshfield had been struggling coming into Friday night's game at DC Everest. Everest looked like they kind of had things kind of figured out, kind of stole one over at Eau Claire Memorial a couple weeks ago. They had some wins along the way against Ashwaubenon and others, DC Everest. Wausau East over at DC Everest a week or so ago. Looked like they had things hooked up. First-year head coach Oliver Drake. And so let's check out highlights. Again, this is Marshfield boys basketball at DC Everest from Friday night.
McFarland's got it. Preby open for a 3 high, arcing, good. Yeah, Lemoyne could be in for a tough night with Hall on him. Off a screen, the 3 is good for Brooks Hinson. Hot and was out of control. That's why it's a no call. Hall to the rim scores. It's 2 seconds. Marshfield's got to put this up. Will count if it goes, and it's at the buzzer. Good for Brooks Hinson. A 1-point game at halftime. Who only got 1 touch. Nivy in traffic. Baseline 3. This would be a lead change if it's good, and it is. Braxton Kurth. Hall surveys. Corner. Preby 3. That may have been partially blocked. Someone got a fingertip on that. It goes down anyway. Hall back out open. Ebersol left him alone, and he makes him pay. Neve down low, got Preby on him, back out, 3-ball, Lee off the bench, he's fouled and it's good. It's a chance for a 4-point play. Tough spinning shot and hits the side of the backboard, got a foul on a putback. Free throws are coming up for Brooks Hinson. Or your crash helmet for what's going to be a good finish tonight. And there's a turnover on a tip. Back the other way, a foul and a basket, lead change. Studeman to inbound. To Marcus Hall in traffic. Hall goes back out. Open 3. It's the sophomore off the backboard and no good. The Tigers win. Coach, congratulations on the win. I thought your team kept coming. It took a couple of trips down the floor to finally get over the hump, but they didn't give up.
Yeah, you're right on that. We were behind pretty much the entire game, and I don't know exactly what point it was that we got the lead, but once we got the lead, I thought our energy picked up, and everyone we played tonight contributed. Even the guys we didn't play, our bench was fantastic with their energy. It was a really good win for the program tonight.
Joining us now, our Zaleski Sports Highlight House player of the game, Landon Lee. Landon, big win tonight at DC Everest. Let's start with your play, though. Clutch 3 and 1 3-pointer with 8.5 left, and then a couple of free throws down the stretch. Tell us about your play tonight.
I thought my play was good, especially on the defensive end. I probably could have shot a few more times, but I made the shots I counted during the game time, and my teammates got me a ball when I needed it, and when I was open. Then I made the shots that I needed to make. So yeah.
The information given to me, sophomore Landon Lee. Talk about the trust that your coach puts in you, a sophomore. I mean, you're in the game, a late game situation. You're shooting free throws with a minute left. How is your coach able to trust you, a sophomore, here this year?
I really appreciate my coach being able to trust me with the ball at the end of the game, and I appreciate his trust in me to be able to make big time plays at the end of the game and keep me in when it's time to make a defensive play, especially during the end of the game too. So it's really cool for him to have trust in me and have faith in me to make a good play during the end of the game.
So that was Landon Lee and the Marshfield Tigers, coached by Chris Fisher. Big win. I'd say big. Again, early season, a lot to be decided. These two teams play each other again January 27th in Marshfield. Could be for a conference championship that day. Think about that, right? January 27th. Yeah, the math will still say there'll be some games to win or lose after that, but I take it from me, folks. So you'll want to be in Marshfield January 27th, boys basketball anyway. You'll want to be in Marshfield January 27th, Everest, Marshfield. I told Landon in that interview I was this close to counting Marshfield out on the year. They had a tough stretch coming in. As I said, Everest beat Eau Claire Memorial in Eau Claire. Marshfield lost to Memorial at home. So you're right, you start to draw those lines. If this team beats this team, then this team should beat this team. And those lines did not intersect on Friday night. Marshfield with a 3-point win over at DC Everest. So take a look at Wisconsin Valley Conference standings, again, at ZaleskiSports.com. Marshfield 2-0 in conference, Spash 1-0 in conference, Everest, East, Merrill all 1-1, and then Rapids and West have not found their first win in conference yet. But again, very early in conference play, but an early one there for Marshfield that'll stick with for the whole season. So good win for Coach Fisher and his Marshfield Tigers on Friday night, a game we have live here on Zaleski Sports. Again, take a quick wheel around here looking for comments, and I'll tell you, I don't think I'm having that good of a show, but everybody thinks I am, so we're going to keep rolling with it. Over my shoulder, another one here, Auburndale and Newman, Merriwood South boys basketball. I've said this for the last number of years. You think of the season that Stratford was having when sports ended in 2020. Edgar to the state championship, to a state appearance the next year. And then others along the way. You can think of Merriwood Conference championships, including those that have happened in Auburndale over the course of the last couple of decades, and all the basketball played in between. So I think from top to bottom, the most competitive boys basketball conference in the entire state. And and that's saying a lot too, because it wasn't that long ago. Assumption was pretty regular on the 1-win line. They'd have 1 win in conference for a long time. Edgar basketball had been, not quite there. But as I said, Edgar with a trip to state. Assumption's on the uptick. It's a tough conference, and we're going to watch this highlight here. Mason Prey, at Merriwood South, preseason Player of the Year candidate. 20, 25 points a game. He can hit for more than that on a given night. Out right now with a knee injury. So Mason didn't play in this game, but keep that in mind as I show you these highlights. Again, this was myself and Dan Ross on the call over in Auburndale from Friday night.
Croc works in the post, over his left shoulder, first 2 is good. First shot from the outside, Scholl for 3 is good. Be patrolling the 3. This is Seidel from the outside. Inside touch, this is White Eagle. Nice find outside, Yeski for 3 is good. Seidel, 3, got it. Weinfurter, long 3 is good.
Those are all buckets.
Tough play by Croc, he gets it to go.
He's had a couple of nice post moves, Dan, in the last couple minutes of floor play.
Back outside, that's an NBA 3, why not?
He hit it from Marshfield, Dan.
Anderson skies for the rebound. Top of the key, Wilford, three, got it!
Well, Wilford gives the Eagles a 6-point lead.
Seidel three, that looked good the whole way. Newman's got to start looking for threes now.
2-possession game, and it's going to be White Eagle with a steal. And that may have just done it, Dan.
And I think Newman's just going to let this one go.
Our Nasonville Dairy postgame show comes up next. It'll be Coach Chad Weinfurter and our Zaleski Sports Highlight House Player of the Game coming up after this on Zaleski Sports. Final score, Auburndale 57, Newman 49.
Well, sometimes in close games or when you get down a little bit, kids tend to think they got to do too much instead of just trust the process, trust the offense. And we talked about that at one of those timeouts. Just trust the offense. Quit trying to force things. Don't play hero ball. And we came out of that timeout, and I think it was Webb to Lucas, and Lucas ended up getting the and one there. And I said, guys, if you just trust it, it'll work. We don't need to play one-on-one basketball, and I thought we did a really good job of that down the stretch to build that lead and then eventually hit free throws at the end. It is. It's a conference filled with great athletes. You've got fall sport stars, whether it's football or cross country or whatever it is. Connor was just named the Win Brockermeyer Award in Marshfield, and Newman's 8-man football is really good. Obviously, we had a good football. You look at the athletes across our conference, and it's sometimes it resembles the physicality of maybe bigger schools.
Our main point on offense is just to move the ball and find the opening spots, and once that happens, a lot of the times the guys I'm on try and help, and I get open, and they're really great at finding me down there, and I try and finish as best I can. Could have done a little better with that, I think, tonight, but we got the job done, and I'm happy with that.
There you go. Mason White Eagle, our Zaleski Sports Highlight House Player of the Game from Friday night as Auburndale takes care of Newman coach Chad Weinfurter and I. You heard Coach and I talk about Merriwood South. In my opinion, it's the most competitive from top to bottom. And again, that's different than talented. There's talent in the Merriwood South too. There's of course the big schools are hollering right now. Yeah, but look at all the D1 prospects we got. Yeah, fine. The most competitive conference from top to bottom in boys basketball is indeed the Merriwood South. Standings here on Zaleski Sports. Marathon 5-0 in conference. So you're going to see Marathon and Auburndale tomorrow, but I'm not going to spoil everything. I'm going to tell you about that. We got a full thing on that coming up, or at least to talk about the schedule for the week, I should say. Marathon 5-0, Auburndale 4-1, Newman 4-1, Edgar 2-2, Assumption 2-2, Stratford 1-3. They're still spinning their wheels in Stratford, but they'll get that hooked up soon. Most competitive boys basketball conference in the state. There it is. I think that gets detailed pretty well right there when I start talking about things like that. All right, that's it for the highlights. As our show, 25 minutes in, this is an hour show, and we've got a lot yet to talk about. We've got our weekly schedule. I'll tell you about that. We've got 3 games on the docket tonight. We've got a new boys and girls Zaleski Sports poll, basketball poll that I will reveal here on this show. VIP members will get to have and hold that whole list on their own later tonight. So I'll tell you how to be a VIP member a couple times during today's show. Plus, Andy Brownell, Nina girls basketball coach. Nina Rockets are ranked number 2 in the state right now and have a University of Connecticut commit on that team. So we're going to talk to Andy in just a second. Take our first, just a short commercial break here as today's Zaleski Sports Show continues right after this.
You know better when you see it.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
But sometimes it's a little harder to tell what better looks like, and you could use a little help.
Thanks, Mom.
Security Health Plan. Everything you need in a health plan. Everything you'd expect from a good neighbor.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here. Start your classes and get your degree right here, or transfer to your 4-year.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here. In person at 4 convenient campuses, online or a hybrid.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here for your Career Accelerator Certificate, a quick way to get ahead in your career.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here. Register to start this fall.
Get started at mstc.edu.
Mid-State Technical College. You belong here.
Welcome back to today's Zaleski Sports Show, Monday, December 19th. I don't even know why I know what day it is. I just kind of popped into my mind. Mid-State Technical College Security Health Plan, thank you for your support of today's show. Mid-State Technical College is right around the corner from here, downtown Stevens Point, one of the 3 campuses here in the area. Security Health Plan is everywhere at securityhealth.org. It's worldwide. All right, so let's take a look here at the broadcast schedule. Again, this is all found. I've really done nothing, folks, but look at zaleskisports.com to give you this information. So that's the information available to you. Everything I've told you about is available to everybody, again, worldwide, www.web, at zaleskisports.com. So today, the broadcast schedule looks like this. Gilman at Columbus Catholic, that game added back to the schedule. I forget where that one was missed, but that game has been re-added at Marshfield, 7 o'clock tip time. There was no JV. So 7 o'clock, boom, you're off and running there in Marshfield. Gilman at Columbus Catholic girls basketball. Loyal is at Assumption, so you get some non-conference basketball there. Cloverbelt headed to the Merriwood. Good luck to the Hounds. They're going to need it. Assumption probably faster than a Hound right now. Tip time 7:15 in Wisconsin Rapids for that one. And then one boys basketball game on the schedule this week, and that's Lodi at Amherst. Tip is at 7:30. So again, Gilman at Columbus Catholic at 7 o'clock. Joe Anderson on the call. Loyal at Assumption at 7:15. Steve Maves on the call. Lodi at Amherst at 7:30. Mike Wendlandt is on the call. And again, highlights will be coming out tomorrow morning. Pittsville at Abbotsford girls basketball. So we've got 4 girls basketball games, three girls basketball games, and a boys basketball game. 4 games in total for you for everything that you want to know. We'll go through the weekly schedule on the very tail end of the show. Stephanie and Mike, thanks for watching. So this poll is available at ZaleskiSports.com. This is in our VIP section. VIP readers get all kinds of stuff ahead of time, and then stuff we don't release to anybody else. So usually this poll is not released to anybody else but VIP readers, those that watch this show. You'll hear me talk about it every Monday, and wouldn't you know it, it's Monday. So today's your lucky day for that. To be a VIP on Zaleski Sports, it's just $5 a month. People say, hey, Zaleski, that's a good idea. Yeah, thanks. But the idea came from you. Folks out there all the time ask us, yeah, I don't own a business, but I sure want to support what you're doing. We really like it. We enjoy it so much. So we came up with this at $5 a month. So you don't need to own a business to be able to afford $5 a month. So, businesses have advertising budgets and all that kind of stuff. So this really came from you. You all asked for a way to be involved, a way to give just a little, and that's really where this idea came from. So be a VIP at Zaleski Sports, $5 a month, it's all it is. And we give you things like our basketball poll. We give you inside information. We tell you playoff seeds before the WIAA does. So you get all that, plus all these special features, write-ups on student athletes and coaches and the whole works. So girls basketball poll is out. So let's just go through the poll. We'll go top to bottom. Number 10 is Spash. It's a fascinating one for me. We're probably going to talk a little bit about the Spash Panthers, coached by Craig Terpstra here for just a little while. But first, so that's 10. Number 9, Iola Scandinavia. Number 8, Eau Claire Memorial. Number 7, Edgar. Number 6, Wittenberg Burnhamwood took their first L on the season last week. Alman Bancroft is number 5. Athens, number 4. They did get a first place vote. Neilsville, number 3. Marshfield is number 2. Assumption is number 5. So yeah, we take all the schools in our coverage area and we boil them down. It's a little bit opinion, it's a little bit fact, and it's a lot of entertainment. And it's really fun to do. what we're really telling you is, in our coverage area, these are the schools. If you don't have a horse in the race, or your school's got a night off, and you're like, you know what, I wonder who I should go and watch tonight. Whether it's live on our network or in person, the preferred method. Get out there, eat some popcorn, sit in the seats, have fun, watch the game. This is kind of your guide for that, and we help you out with that. So be a VIP today, $5 a month. That's all it is, just the $5 a month. So that's what we got there. So yeah, a little bit interesting. Let's talk about Spash coming into the poll for the first time here this season. Spash Panthers girls basketball. Our pollsters, right? Our poll submitters. There's probably a word out there for it. Impressed, apparently. Impressed with Spash's win over Wausau West last week, 54-51. Stevens Point's 5-3 overall. They're 2-0 in Valley Conference play, but they're 5-3 overall, and they come in as number 10. I think that probably says a few things. It's a nice win against West. West not ranked, though, in this poll, but it's still a nice win. I guess West carries some of that cachet, right? Tom Weinkoff and the rest of the gang over there kind of been bullies in the Wisconsin Valley Conference really for a long time. So maybe our pollsters were impressed with that win over Wausau West, and that's fine. That's why there are many of us. I'm one, but there's many more that vote in this poll every week. So good, and good for them. Iola Scandinavia comes in at number 9. They were not ranked last week, so they beat Wittenberg. Pollsters impressed. Iola Scandinavia handed Wittenberg Burnhamwood its first loss of the season, and then Iola beat Amherst. Okay, all right, I'll go along with that. Eau Claire Memorial, we'll talk about All Access coming up later, but they come in at number 8. 7 is Edgar. And I know a lot of people are thinking, what is it about Edgar? They lost to Assumption. Okay, they did. But that's the only loss of the year for the Wildcats. Edgar's win last week was against Prentice, just the single win there. Wittenberg Burnhamwood, as I'd said, I've got a pretty high opinion of Wittenberg Burnhamwood. My pollsters don't have as high of opinion as I do about them, but they did get beat by Iola, so good for them. Good for the T-Birds, not so good for the Chargers. Chargers, though, did beat Menominee Indian last week. Allman Bancroft comes in. They're 8-0. They got a first place vote. Did the Eagles. Good for them. Athens with their first loss of the year last week against Phillips. Phillips is a good basketball team. Phillips does not appear on our teams to vote for, because again, these are teams that we cover all the time, so that's why. But Phillips is a good basketball team. Watch out for the Loggers this year. Neilsville moves up from 4-3. Neilsville still undefeated, 7-0. John Geyer just keeps cranking them out over there in Clark County. Marshfield with 2 first-place votes comes in at number 2. And I'll tell the Royals to watch out, because Marshfield is on the rise in this poll. They do stick at number 2, but the total point margin goes like this in the poll. And then Assumption comes in at number 1. They've got 5 first-place votes due Ryan Klein's Assumption Royals. And they didn't even play a game last week. And they stick and stay at number 1. Maybe that's why Marshfield inched up a little bit. Could be. All right, so there's your girls basketball poll. Dropping out, Wausau West and Auburndale both dropped out of the poll. Auburndale, though, still getting votes, as is Wausau West. Pittsville, Amherst, and Loyal, the Hounds got a vote. Somebody out there sympathetic to the Loyal Greyhounds. Good for you. That's good. Yeah, and again, we got Pittsville highlights coming tonight. So Pittsville Panthers girls basketball, highly thought of around a lot of circles. And we'll see those highlights tomorrow on Facebook at Zaleski Sports. Okay, take a look at the boys' side. Here's the boys' poll for current week. Eau Claire Memorial comes in at number 10. Again, All Access. I'll tell you about that later on in today's show. Pacelli makes its first appearance in our poll at number 9, the Pacelli Cardinals. Port Edwards is 8. Athens, boys, are 7. DC Everest falls down to 6, a tumble from the 2 spot for the Evergreens. And all they did was lose a game. Are you kidding me? All right. Columbus Catholic at 5. Newman is at 4. Marathon 3. Auburndale 2. And Mosinee, your new number 1 on Zaleski Sports this week. So good stuff there. So let's take a little bit closer look at a couple of those things. Pacelli Cardinals coming in. Like I said, they are ranked number 9. Take a look at Pacelli. They beat Iola Scandinavia and Pittsville last week. They beat Pittsville Okay, so that's good. That game was on the road at Pittsville, and they beat them by 17. There have been some people that have had some question marks about John Shirk's. That's too strong of a phrase to use. But there have been some people that have just wondered, how good is the team? And I happen to think that team is pretty good. I think so anyway. But there are some perhaps that don't, and that's fine. But anyway, so Coach Shirk beats Pittsville, but they beat him by 17. It's a good, quality, solid win for the Pacelli Cardinals here. Port Edwards ranked number 8. Port is 6-1 overall. By the way, Pacelli 5-1, 3-0 in conference. Port Edwards 6-1. Beat New Lisbon and Gresham, so we really look forward to that first Pacelli and Port matchup. Whew, that's going to be a humdinger over there. Athens comes in. They are ranked 7th. Take a look at Athens here. Here we go. 5-1 are the Blue Jays. They beat Rib Lake 67-53 on their lone game last week. We talked about DC Everest, showed you those highlights. Marcus Hall, still Mr. Basketball, #1 candidate for Mr. Basketball in the state. But again, we think about Mr. Basketballs from years past. These usually, even though Hall's got all the numbers, he's got the pedigree, he's got the stats, he's got the look, he's got the numbers, he's got the everything. But we think of Mr. Basketball award winners throughout the years. Those teams have seemingly always made a deep run in the playoffs, if not made a state appearance. Maybe a tall order for the Evergreens this year, so we'll see. But certainly my Mr. Basketball, and I think as the season goes on, others, if they haven't already, they will catch on to that. Columbus Catholic at number 5. They stay at number 5 in this, again, mostly entertainment poll here. They beat Spencer 78-46 and Neillsville 59-36 last week. They beat Neillsville without Emmett Konieczny on Friday night, though, over at home against Neillsville. So something just to keep in mind there. Newman, again, without Mason Prey. Prey has now missed 2 games. We'll see. On high school, we don't get into prognostications of how long somebody's going to be injured. We actually want him to play right now, so hopefully he's able to play tomorrow against Marathon. But Newman comes in at number 4 out of the, again, very, very tough Merriwood South. And Newman 6-1. That was their first loss on Friday night against Auburndale. They're 4-1 now in conference. Again, 57-49 that final. They did beat Assumption on Tuesday night at home, 61-44. Really took it to the Royals, and without Mason Prey. That I would need some explanation on a nearly 20-point win without a 25-point per game score. Marathon comes in at number 3. Marathon's undefeated, folks. The Marathon Red Raiders. And Dan's favorite Garantula minute. But Marathon beat Edgar and Stratford last week and beat Stratford. Again, you like to beat Stratford 60-35, right? Beat them by 25. It's a big win. Auburndale comes in at number 2. They beat Stratford, and then this game here against Newman. And then Mosinee. Mosinee up to the top spot here in this week's poll. And Mosinee beat Rhinelander last week, but they're 7-0. But they beat Rhinelander 67-53, but they're 7-0. That's good work there for Coach Matt Lindsay and his Mosinee Indians. Again, this list of 10 includes all schools that we cover, regardless of division. We provide this to you on opinion and some fact, and largely for entertainment purposes. The way I view this is your guide each week, that if you got time to watch a basketball game tonight, use this as your guide. You pick one of these 20 teams, right, girls and boys, you pick one of these 20, and that's your guide to how to kind of fill your time and get acquainted with high school basketball here in our coverage area anyway. So dropping out was Bondwell. The Bears dropped out. I think they were in the poll for a week. Now they're out. Marshfield with votes. Allman Bancroft, Colby, Owen Withy, Spash, Pittsville, Bondwell, Shiocton, Neillsville. A lot of voters sympathetic to a lot of those teams. VIP readers will be able to see all of that information, plus a couple of write-ups that I do on some of those teams. And it's just $5 a month to be a VIP. Again, the VIP was your idea. A lot of you have said over the years, I don't own a business. I can't advertise on your games. I'm not North Central Technical College, but I want to be able to give something. How can I do that? So we came up with VIP. We give you behind the scenes, interesting, fun, entertaining things about area high school sports, and it's just $5 a month. And one of the best things that we do that I don't think anybody else in the state does is we're able to, with a really high degree of proficiency, give you playoff seedings weeks before the brackets are released. We've cracked the code on the WIA's formula on playoff seeding, so we're able to give that to you. That's worth $60 a year, just that, and we do it for all the sports. So think about that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and be back. We talked to Neenah Rockets girls basketball coach Andy Brownell a little bit earlier today. So just take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with Andy and talk a little about Allie Zabel, UConn commit out of Neenah. Right after this, this is today's Zaleski Sports Show.
At Express Employment Professionals, we place people from all walks of life in all kinds of jobs.
Hi, welcome to Express. Please sign in and have a seat.
Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks. Great, thanks.
When the last thing you need to happen does. One of our 16 mobile service trucks from Sherrill Tire and Service Center can keep you rolling and growing. Sherrill Tire and Service Center, your locally owned farm tire specialist.
Sherrill Tire and Service, keep growing and rolling with us.
Find your location at SherrillTire.com.
All right, the Neenah Rockets are ranked number 2 in the state of Wisconsin in girls basketball. Andy Brownell's got himself a really nice squad this year, including University of Connecticut commit Allie Zabel. Allie's going to go play for Coach Gino Ariema next year at the University of Connecticut. So got some things going on there. Do the Rockets. We actually had Neenah at Stevens Point to begin the year. It was season opener for the Neenah Rockets about a month ago. We'll show you those highlights, and then we'll come back with Coach Andy Brownell right here on Zaleski Sports.
Couldn't ask for an easier job at the Panthers.
And then Buss answers right back.
Almost as I very poor transition play.
For Kirklevsky, Zabel for 3. Got it. Blow by on a nice crossover, gets by Beatles. Tries to go block to block. It bounces back out to an open 3 for Klesmet. 15-11 remaining. A deep 3 from Buss. That one was from Neenah. 14.5 to go. Buss will step into an open 3. High post, Josie. High-low, nice pass, and a good cut. Count it! And 1. Rebound to Klesman. They got numbers. Nice pass, and Jones
what
scores.
A find.
To Buss. Open 3 in the corner. Stop it.
Wide open.
And there's a steal by Ava Cook.
Can't get much easier than that.
Left-hand layup. And your final score, Neenah 87 and Spash 54. So I can't remember how many times I've seen a team score 87 points in the opening game of the season.
We missed too many free throws. Should have been higher. Offensively, yeah, good. I'm happy with how we played offensively. Defense, some things we need to work on, but we're a very talented team. We have very high expectations for what we expect this year. And this is a good start because obviously Spash always plays tough. No matter, when we come here, it doesn't matter who's the better team. It's always a dogfight. So we knew it was going to be with Spash early on. It definitely, held true to that. That was a tight game early on. It took us a while to get rolling, but I'm proud of the effort for the ladies.
Especially on this side of the court, you guys could not miss in that first half.
Yeah, and we've got some great shooters. Obviously, Allie's a phenomenal player. We all know that. We got a lot of the kids who can do things as well. So, but she's our motor. We feed off of her. So, and we all know that, and she does a great job getting other people involved as well.
Talk about that defense, picking up full court every time down against their primary ball handler. What was going through your head knowing that they're trusting you to be the first line against a team like Spash?
Yeah, being an upperclassman now, you just have to know that you're going to be in that leadership role, which I actually really like. It just allows you to grow better, and you control the game for your team, and it's a great place to be in.
Whether it was you or Sammy or Ava or Sophie, whoever was hitting the shots, they were open and they weren't missing. What does it mean for you guys that you can spread the ball and you have such a balanced team this year?
Yeah, everyone works so super hard on their outside game. So knowing we have those shooters, it makes it a lot harder to guard us just because we have a variety of different people that can put it.
All right, so that was game one of the year. 87 points in game one. I like Coach Brownell talking about if we made more free throws, could have scored more points. The Neenah Rockets have not lost this season. They are undefeated. Had a chance to catch up with Neenah Rockets girls basketball coach Andy Brownell earlier this morning. Visiting with Neenah Rockets girls basketball coach Andy Brownell. Coach, before we get started, just remind the audience, how many years you've been coaching basketball at Neenah High School?
This is my 19th year as head coach. I was the JV coach for 5 years before that. And then I think I did middle school for about 4 or 5 years before that. So it's been a while. I think I've been coaching here in Neenah about 28 years total.
So you probably know a thing or two, you would say.
Yeah, I guess I've picked up a thing or two along the way.
Talk about your season here so far. We had you actually in your first game of the year over at Stevens Point. You scored 87 in the season opener. You told our Mike Wendland after the game, he asked you about the 87. You said you missed too many free throws. Have the free throws got any better since game one?
Yes, they have. And Friday against Oshkosh West, we did go 100% at the line. So we're working on it. And obviously, as anybody knows who watches the game, it's often who gets fouled. It certainly has a big impact on your free throw percentage. But the girls have worked hard to get better at that. So that's definitely one of the areas we've addressed, and it is making solid progress.
Started out the season perfect. According to what I have here, 8-0 on the season. A game against Bayport tonight. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But tell us, you had a 9-point game against Fond du Lac. The other games have been, 15, 20 plus. Have you been tested yet this year, or are you ready for a test?
I think we're ready for a test. We'll see. I think within a lot of those contests that maybe the margin ended up quite large. It wasn't the whole way through. I think going back to the start that we had against Wausau West, they came out really aggressive right away. We were down early. We had to fight through some adversity there. It was a great crowd there for Wausau West, which is what you're looking for on those road games, to get tested, get that intense environment. And that was a great one, but that was one we had to kind of grind out and pull away. Same thing when we played Brookfield East, our third game of the year down at that Kettle Moraine Invite, which is phenomenal. Todd Hansen does a great job with that. That was another game where we won by 14, but the East is a great team, and they just kept battling, and it would get down to about a 7-point game, and then we'd kind of eke it back up to 12. And, it's just one of those games back and forth. So we've definitely been tested. Fondy, we were up 10-0 to start, and then they just ground out. Jake Jolling has done a great job with that squad, and they were ready. They knew what we do, and they handled it well, had a great game plan, and made that pretty convincing. The score was a little off. I know. I think we actually did win by 11, but 9-11, who cares? It's right there. So but that was another one we had to really grind that one out. So proud of how the girls have progressed, but we definitely have some more work to do on especially mainly just the consistency of us executing both ends of the court.
Talk about your team as a whole in just a minute, but first we'll talk about Allie. I'm sure you've been asked 1,000 questions about Allie, so I'll make it 1,001. The good news is, Coach, the answer should be easy because you've been kind of ripping them off for the last couple of years, those answers. Tell us what it's like to coach such a phenomenal kid, a great person like Allie is.
And that's the first part, what you said there about just being a great person. That's huge, because she is a great person, a great young adult, super hardworking, very coachable, wants to be coached, wants to be corrected and fixed and improved upon whatever she's not doing well. And that's huge when you have your best player on the team who brings that type of mentality and that attitude and that coachability. It's very easy to help the whole team grow and get better.
So tell us now about the whole team. Because in some ways they're supporting Allie. I mean, she's out there scoring 20, 25 a game. But in other ways, Allie needs them as much as they need her. Tell us about the rest of the girls and how you're able to incorporate everybody into this team.
And I think that's such a fine line. At what point do you say, like, yeah, hey, Allie's one of the best players in the nation. We need to get her a touch during every possession. However, you don't want to become Allie-centric where everything goes through Allie either. And that is a fine line. And there are times where I feel like we've fallen into that a little bit, but I think we fight through that. And I think last year you saw that in the postseason when we knocked off Hortonville, the sectional semifinal. It was a very balanced approach. Things weren't going well for us in the sectional final game against East. And then we became get the ball to Allie and see what she creates. So that's just something that's just a constant thing that we work on in practice, different drills that we know, hey, we're going to get, she's going to come out and get face guarded. How do we handle that? And we have certain plays that we will put in that try to address that. And then having the girls, just a lot of it's just repetition, how to try to get her open, but then also use those screens that you set and the way you're trying to help her free her up. How can you also now be a threat off of those as well? And that's just something we just keep working on, and we will keep working on all year long.
Got the Bayport Pirates coming in today. Those not able to make it to the gym, my understanding is W7 will be there to broadcast the game live. What do you know about the Bayport Pirates?
Bayport has really come on. They struggled early, but their two leading scorers, number 20 and number 40, were both out. So they're a much different team. Both those girls average about 11 a game. Very long, very athletic. So they put out a 6'2" and a 6-footer on the starting lineup. We don't have a ton of height, so that will be a challenge for us. I think it's going to be a matter of, are they able to get the ball inside and really get to the lane and get to the rim, versus are we going to be able to put the pressure on full court that we want to and really make it much more of a full court game? It's going to kind of be that conflicting style that we need to win that battle to be able to take care of business in the game.
After tonight's game, you got two games over the course of about 14, 17 days. Of course, we're going to have family time. We've got Christmas coming up and some other things away from school. How do you keep the girls in it with just a couple of games and that kind of this long stretch?
It works out, I feel, really well. We've got a big one on Friday at Hortonville, and I think that in of itself will keep the girls focused through this week for sure. And then a few days off, then we come back and play Green Bay Southwest. So it's great. It gives them a couple days off where they can be away, come back and have like a day where we just do some conditioning, lifting and shooting, and then kind of 2 full practice days to get ready for Green Bay Southwest, who's having a great year. They're 6-1. So I think just the nature of who we play, those 2 games over that stretch will really help keep us dialed in. And this is a very headsy group, a very knowledgeable group, a very experienced group. We have 6 seniors on the team and a whole bunch of juniors that have played a lot last year as sophomores. So it's a very experienced team, and they understand. They know what's ahead of them, and they know what they got to do.
Talking to jinx you, but it's a long season, especially January, such a long month of basketball. I'm sure you and the girls talked about season goals, conference championship, likely one of them. How do you begin to work towards that as we turn the calendar to 2023?
Well, I think Kaukauna, definitely one of the top teams in the conference and in the state as well. Let's not forget about Hortonville, one of the best teams in the state as well. They just had a great battle with Kaukauna on Friday of last week that Kaukauna got him. It was an 11-point game. Watched that one thoroughly Saturday morning. I'm like, all right, I got to watch this one. Before I even take a look at Bayport, I had to take a look at that game. And quite honestly, Hortonville didn't shoot the greatest. Kaukauna did a great job on defense, and their offensive scheme was solid as well. So Kaukauna definitely earned that one. But I think between those 3 teams, it should come down to those 3 teams in conference. And that's going to be a battle. I mean, that's the great part about the FBA. 10 teams, so we see everybody twice. That's 18 games. It's a meat grinder. You've got really solid teams. Oshkosh West, I know you look at the score of that one, you think like we took care of business handily. That was a dogfight. We had to grind that one out, and we pulled away. But again, there's just so many games like that every week you have to be ready to go in this conference.
It's the end of my questions, Coach. I'll just kind of let you, if you any last words, anything you want to leave us with before we end the call today.
I just encourage anybody who's interested in seeing us play, come on out. I think we play a fun style of basketball. It's a full court, but yet we also play I feel like some very solid half court defense as well. Offensively, we share the ball. We work well together. You've got one of the best kids in the nation who makes things look so effortless and so easy, and yet finds a way to also get everybody else involved. She's averaging almost 7 assists a game. So she does a great job of distributing to her teammates, and they play well together and they support each other. And I think one of the things that I'm most thrilled about is if we're pulling away in the game and we have some of the kids who don't get as many game minutes, but are super important for us as a team, as far as how we practice each day, the girls who play more during the game, at the end, they're cheering, they're celebrating the success of those other kids that are getting in. I think that cohesion, that chemistry is one of our strengths.
Neenah Rockets girls basketball coach, Andy Brownell. Good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you. Thanks for the interview. I appreciate it.
All right, there we were. Coach Andy Brownell, Neenah Rockets girls basketball head coach. Rockets currently ranked number 2 in the state. You can catch tonight's game against Bayport on W7. We'll see Neenah on this network coming up in January. Marshfield heads to Neenah, so we will follow the Marshfield Tigers. Coach Taylor Varsho out to Neenah on that day and show you Marshall Tigers basketball along with the Neenah Rockets and Allie Zabel, just a tremendous basketball player. I think she, while these kind of rankings are put out, and whoever ranks, you can figure that out. But at one point, when I read, she was ranked number 5 in the entire country as far as prospects coming out of high school, the 5th rated player in the country over in Neenah. So if you can get over to Neenah, watch those games. Again, you can watch them against Bayport tonight on W7, and then you can watch them on Zaleski Sports coming up here in a few weeks when Marshfield travels that way. And then had Neenah and Spash. That's available on YouTube. So if you want to watch the season opener, you can watch Allie and her Rockets on Zaleski Sports. Just go to YouTube, type in Neenah Spash basketball. Pops right up. That's how that works. Speaking of girls basketball, we continue on with girls basketball here in this area. Lakeland, Juliana Wamette, Lakeland T-Birds is nearing 2,000 points on her career. The T-Birds play tomorrow night against Anago, on Tuesday night against Anago. And then the T-Birds head to Wausau. They'll take on the East Lumberjacks on Thursday, where we'll have a camera crew there on Thursday to capture, again, the pace that she's on. It looks like she'll get her 2,000th career point on Thursday over at Wausau East. So meet us in the gym over there, and then you can watch highlights of what we think will be Juliana's 2,000th point on Friday night. But the game's on Thursday at Wausau East, Lakeland at Wausau East. Speaking of Wausau East, congratulations to our very own Tom King. Tom King Magnuson. Mags is now a member of the Wausau East Hall of Fame. Had the induction ceremony on Saturday. You can read about it on Zaleski Sports on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, or you just see Tom around town, or broadcasting for us as what he does nowadays. You can say, hey Tom, congratulations on your Hall of Fame nomination and bid. Again, he has been fully inducted into the Wausau East Hall of Fame. And just looking up here on our weekly schedule, you can find Tom on Tuesday, Iola Scandinavia at Pacelli girls basketball. So go ahead and at least give him a pat on the back. He's in the Hall of Fame, for crying out loud. So congratulations, Tom, on your induction into the Wausau East Hall of Fame. What else we got here? Eau Claire All Access. So a lot of you are familiar with our behind-the-scenes work that we do with sports around the area. During football season, it's called Hard Knocks. And during the basketball season, it is called All Access. Our All Access school for basketball this year is Eau Claire Memorial. So pretty excited about that. We've actually got episode number 3 of the season coming out tonight at 6 p.m. on YouTube, on this YouTube channel, and if you're watching on Facebook, it'll be on these Facebook channels as well. Gabby Anderson, our executive producer out there in Eau Claire, putting that together. And just a quick 20-second snippet on Eau Claire Memorial All Access.
A 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go, Eau Claire Memorial All Access. We give you behind the scenes at practice. We give you behind the scenes at game. We're in the locker room pregame, halftime, postgame, in the timeout huddles, everywhere. They let us in for everything over there at Eau Claire Memorial, and we really appreciate their support. Coach Chad Brisky, Coach Brandon Fanning, and the rest of the people over there at Eau Claire Memorial. Both teams are having a great season, by the way. Boys and girls basketball teams having tremendous seasons here so far. Again, episode 3 tonight at 6 o'clock. They come out every Monday at 6 p.m. We'll not have a show on January, 2nd, okay? We're going to take a little break for Christmas and New Year's. So we won't have a show that day, but every Monday during the season, except for the big holiday there on Monday. Eau Claire Memorial All Access. The Old Abes come to town. Girls come to town here in Stevens Point to take on the Spash Panthers on Thursday. And I'll be on the call for that one, so you check that out, Eau Claire Memorial at Stevens Point on Thursday. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and take a look at the whole week's schedule here on Zaleski Sports. These games are live as we begin to wrap up today's show. These are our live broadcasts coming up this week. I already told you, Gilman at Columbus, Loyal at Assumption, Lodi at Amherst, girls, boys basketball tonight. It all starts at 7 o'clock. Tuesday, Columbus at Greenwood girls, Marathon at Newman boys, Iola Scandinavia at Pacelli girls, DC Everest at Spash boys, Pacelli at Shiocton boys, Pacelli at Wapaka hockey, Auburndale at Assumption boys, Markesan at Amherst girls, Crandon at Stratford girls. That's just Tuesday, folks. That's just on Tuesday. On Thursday, Columbus Catholic at Owen Withy boys, Stratford at Edgar girls, Menominee Indian at Pacelli boys, Wapaka at Wisconsin Rapids hockey, Westfield at Amherst boys and girls basketball doubleheader, Eau Claire Memorial at Spash, again that's a girls basketball game on Thursday, and then DC Everest at Rhinelander visiting the Hodags on Thursday, and there won't be any live games on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, and then we've got holiday tournaments after that. All things I can tell you about during the week, but that's this week's schedule, and you'll find it all at ZaleskiSports.com. Very last thing here today as we wrap up today's show, our weekly fan voting contest. You all get to go on Facebook and vote on our top 3 plays of the week. We call it our Zaleski Sports 3 to See. We had Giselle Hartwig winner last week, and we've got 3 great candidates that you can vote for. We'll show you that, and then I'll come back and show you how to vote in just a moment.
Says run with it. Shaw bodies up. Wow, what a finish by Ryan Shaw. And it's 7-0 Assumption. Acrobatic play there by Ryan Shaw.
For Owen Withy, it was a baseline inbound. Carter Kleben with the lob, Logan Amaker with the catch and the slam as Owen Withy took down Greenwood.
Strong rebound from Anderson. Blocked by Gustafson.
They got a little 2-on-1. Bates by himself. Reverse layup. Good. Feel like he made that a little bit harder than he had to.
Thomas Bates, let's get him on the 3 to See this week. That was a good play.
Headband, hair flowing.
And the reverse layup. All right, there you go. There's your 3 candidates to vote for this week. Ryan Shaw, Logan Amaker, and Thomas Bates, the 3 to vote for this week. You just head over to any of our 7 Facebook channels, and you can actually go to all of them and vote once on each of them. But you go to any of those 7 Facebook channels, Zaleski Sports, and you vote. And the way it works is we count votes till tomorrow at noon. That's Tuesday. And then Wednesday, right here on this show, I'll talk to the winner, and we do that every week here at Zaleski Sports. Just another way that we help to celebrate all of our area student athletes. They go out and not only do they get their housework done, their schoolwork, their yard work, right? They feed the hogs, they might have a job, they go to practice, they play in the games, they do all this stuff. And so the least we can do is to help recognize them, and then we bring them in for an interview. We treat them as good as we can for those 5-10 minutes during the interview, and we let you be a part of all of it. Just like we have here in today's show. Again, the Zaleski Sports Show live in downtown Stevens Point is going to come to an end. It's a sad moment. The show is done. That's it for today. Monday through Friday at 2 p.m., Zaleski Sports Show. I will be your host, I think, for all of them. And hopefully we'll have some special guests here in the studio, interviews coming in during those shows. Again, big thanks to Andy Brownell from Nina Girls Basketball. Today's highlighted interview, and Coach came in and gave us all kinds of good information about his Rockets basketball team. So thanks to everybody involved with the show today, and we will see you tomorrow, Tuesday at 2 p.m. right here. This has been today's Zaleski Sports Show.